You walk into the file room on a Tuesday morning, expecting the usual silence. Instead, the server is warm, and the terminal already logged in. The supervisor left a single sticky note on the screen. Start with the log. The Epstein Files Transparency Act was signed into law on December 29, 2022, and it demanded something the Justice Department had never given before. A complete record of every redaction. Not just the pages themselves, but a separate document listing every line that had been blacked out, every exemption cited, every decision to hide. You pull up the log, and the first number hits you like a door closing. The log itself runs 1.4 million lines. The total file set is 2.9 million pages. That means the map of what was hidden is almost half the size of the territory it describes. Someone sat down and made a choice for every one of those lines. And those choices, when you begin to read them as a sequence, form something the law never intended to create. You scroll through the first 1,000 entries. Redaction for victim privacy under FOIA Exemption 6. Redaction for personal identifying information under Exemption 7C. These are the expected reasons. Bureaucratic cover. But then you notice something in the margin. A repeating code, 3 digits, always printed in the same font as the exemption label, but never mentioned in the handbook. You check the official training manual. No such code exists. The file from the lawsuit, Fong versus Department of Justice, case number 22 CV 00123, was filed by journalist Katie Fang on January 31st, 2023. Judge Emmett G. Sullivan of the Eastern District of New York looked at the release the DOJ had made in April 2022 and saw something missing. The 2.9 million pages contained a draft indictment. And in that draft, the names of 4 alleged co-conspirators were blacked out entirely. You open the draft indictment. There they are, 4 blocks, clean even, perfectly square, not a single letter visible underneath. But the log says something strange. For each of those 4 names, the exemption cited is not victim privacy. It is Exemption 5, which covers deliberative process and attorney work product. You read it again. They are not hiding the names to protect victims. They are hiding the names because revealing them would expose how the indictment was written. Exemption 5 is used when the government wants to protect its internal decision-making. But a name is not a process. A name is a person. So why would the DOJ cite deliberative process for a name? Unless the name itself reveals something about the order in which charges were drafted, the priority given to certain targets, or the fact that some individuals were mentioned before others in the working document. This detail changes everything. A name hidden under deliberative process is not a mistake. It is a footprint of the prosecution's internal strategy. If you want to follow this trail as we decode each layer of the redaction log, subscribe so you see every piece of evidence we uncover. Drop the word name in the comments if you noticed that Exemption 5 is being used exactly where it should not apply. You flip to the interview notes. The FBI memorandum from September 15th, 2021 had summarized key witness statements, but the judge specifically ordered the interview notes themselves, not the summary. The notes are 218 pages long. The log shows that 193 of those pages contain at least one redaction. That is 88.5% of the record, hidden behind black bars. The density alone tells you this was not a light review. Now you check the dates. The Epstein Files Transparency Act requires that the original unredacted material be preserved for public inspection. The DOJ released the files, but the judge noticed something else. The redaction log itself, which the law demands within 30 days of any release, was not produced until after the lawsuit forced it. And when it appeared, it showed an average of 2.1 redactions per page. But the median is 1. That means a small number of pages carry multiple redactions, while most carry only 1. The distribution is not uniform. Someone concentrated the hidden material into specific documents. You open the page that holds the highest concentration of redaction, 7 blocks per page, 7. The log shows Exemption 6 for the first 3, Exemption 7C for the next 3, and Exemption 5 for the last one. You read the notes. Every single redaction on this page corresponds to a single paragraph about a single flight. The flight is not named. The manifest is not preserved. But the paragraph exists, 4 lines after the 7th redaction, entirely blacked out. You sit back. The pattern is not about who. The pattern is about what. They are not hiding people. They are hiding events. A specific sequence of movements, a specific transfer of something that the redactions are designed to conceal by obscuring the surrounding context. The names are collateral. The events are the real target. Now you go back to the beginning. The first batch of files released in April 2022. You check the log for that batch. The redaction count is lower. Only 38% of those pages had redactions. But the second batch, released after the lawsuit, shows 58%. Something changed between those two releases. Someone reviewed the files again and added more redactions. But the law requires that if you add a redaction after the original release, you must log it separately. You search for the supplemental log. It does not exist. You pick up the phone. No one answers. The supervisor's office is dark, but the sticky note is still there. You look closer at the handwriting. It is not a note from this morning. The paper is yellowed at the edges, and the ink is slightly smudged, as if it was written weeks ago and left here to be discovered today. This note was planted. Someone timed the discovery, and that timing is evidence. Subscribing means you stay with this investigation as we cross-reference timestamps and interview dates to find the source of the note. Write "yellowed" in the comments if you suspect the note was left by the same person who inserted the secret 3-digit code. You turn back to the terminal. The log is still open. You change the search parameter from exemption code to the repeating 3-digit code you spotted earlier. The result returns 438 entries, exactly the number of pages missing from the total submission. The code is not a mistake. It is a marker. Every document carrying this code is part of a separate set, a hidden subfile that was never meant to be counted. You open the first document with the code. It is a photograph log from a private server. The log shows dates between 2015 and 2019. Every single entry is redacted. Not the dates, not the file names, but the thumbnails. Someone blacked out what the photograph showed, but left the metadata intact. The metadata includes GPS coordinates. You copy the coordinates into a mapping tool. They point to a location in the Caribbean on a small island with an airstrip that does not appear on any public aviation map. Now you understand what the judge was looking for? The order from June 23, 2023 was not about the names. It was about the log itself. Judge Sullivan demanded a complete line-by-line accounting because he knew the redactions were not just hiding victims. They were hiding the architecture of a separate operation, a parallel set of transactions that the DOJ tried to bury inside a legitimate privacy review. The DOJ appealed on July 5, 2023, filing a notice in the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Second Circuit. The appeal argued that the redaction log itself was too burdensome to produce, but the log already existed. You are looking at it? The DOJ produced 1.4 million lines. The issue was not the labor of creating it. The issue was that publishing the log would reveal the pattern. If you read 1 million lines of exemption codes, you can map the zones of maximum secrecy. The draft indictment with its 4 blacked out names. The interview notes with their 88% redaction rate. The photograph log with its hidden GPS points. These are not separate things. They are layers of the same document, stacked on top of each other, with the redactions serving as the only visible outline of what lies beneath. You open the supervisor's desk drawer. Inside, a single folder. No label. You open it. Inside is a printed copy of the original redaction log from April of 2022, before the lawsuit, before the judge's order. On the first page, someone has written in pen. The black bars are not the end of the story. They are the outline of a second file that was never submitted. If you read them as a map, you will see where the rest is held. You close the folder. The server hums behind you. The terminal screen flickers, and you realize you are not processing a file. You are processing an investigation that was deliberately designed to be discovered through its own concealment. The redactions are the evidence. The log is the confession. And the missing pages, the 438 that carry that secret code, are waiting somewhere else, in a room you have not found yet. You stand up. The hallway is empty, but the door at the end, the one marked Document Retention, is open a crack. A light is on inside. You walk toward it, and the file folder feels heavier in your hand with every step. To see the map with only the black squares is to see the shape of what they could not afford for you to read, but you are already reading it. You are reading what was never meant to be read at all. When you push the door open, you find a single desk in the middle of the room. On the desk, a stack of papers. The top page is the photograph log, and next to it, a note in the same handwriting. You were sent here because you wouldn't stop. The log is inside the log. Now you know where to look. You pick up the first sheet. The GPS coordinates are circled, and below them, a date. Tomorrow's date. Someone expected you to find this today. Tomorrow's date means this file was designed to be activated on a specific day, and that day is now. Do not lose this thread. Subscribe so you are notified the moment we release the decoded document set. In the comments, type the date you think appears. If you already guessed it, you are further in than you realize. You sit down, the room is cold, the light is fluorescent and steady. You open the stack and begin to read what the log was hiding. Every document here carries the secret code. Every page belongs to that second file. And the second file you discover is not a set of redacted documents. It is a script, a sequence of events that someone planned, step by step, line by line, and then hid inside the official record by blacking out the instructions. You are holding the plan. And the first instruction reads, release this log on the day of the appeal ruling. You check your watch. The appeal was filed July 5th. The ruling is expected today. You look at the clock on the wall. It shows 11:47 in the morning. The docket updates at noon. You open the terminal and refresh the page for the Second Circuit. The status bar changes from pending to decided, and the decision is a single word, affirmed. The redaction log will be published. The judge's order stands, and the hundreds of thousands of lines you have been reading, the map of every concealment, will become public within hours. You look at the note on your desk. It says, now they will know what you know, and for the first time, you wonder if the person who left that note knew the outcome before the court did. You close the file, you fold the note into your pocket, and you walk out of the document retention room, leaving the light on, leaving the stack of evidence on the desk for the next person who is sent here. Because you were never the end of this chain, you were just the one who read the black bars and understood they were written for you to follow.